What's up, YouTube? My name is Del. This is Del on Movies. Welcome to my channel. Thanks for hanging out with me. If you've been here before, thanks for coming back to hang out with me some more. I truly appreciate it. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. Let's start growing the channel. Let's keep this thing rolling. Today, we have another episode of Watch These Movies. This is the series where I recommend 5 movies for you guys to watch. And I try to pick movies that don't get a lot of shine. I know lots of places people tell you about the same movies over and over. I want to give you something a little bit different, something you may not have seen, in some cases maybe not even heard of, though that might not be the case today for most of these movies, because these are all movies that fit into one genre, actually. Well, one and a half. I'll say one and a half genres. One of them doesn't quite fit, but I'll explain it when I get there. I've said on my channel before that I'm a big superhero fan, especially superhero movies, but I haven't talked much superhero stuff at all. So I decided this episode was going to be all superhero movies, or at least all comic book movies. One of these movies is a comic book movie, and like I said, I'll get to it in a little bit. I do want to start with just a straight superhero movie. Again, these are movies that don't get as much shine, so no movies from the MCU. You've seen all 28 of those movies, or 29, however many we're up to, including the new Thor movie. I haven't even seen that yet, so don't spoil it for me, guys. I'm gonna hopefully see it soon. Not from the DCEU, so it's not, Justice League or any Wonder Woman, or it's none of those movies. So let's get into what they actually are. The first one is a movie starring Robert Townsend, and this is Meteor Man. He wrote and I believe he directed this also, and of course he stars in it as Meteor Man. He lives in a crime-infested neighborhood run by a gang, and he's just a regular Joe, and true to his name, a meteor comes into town and he gets exposed, and he develops superpowers after that. And I'm not going to go into the whole story, but then he decides, hey, if I've got these powers, I'm going to clean up my neighborhood. So that's what he tries to do. It's a very family-friendly superhero movie. And if you're familiar with this series, with Watch These Movies, if you watched any of the other episodes, you know that I like to start with the tamer movies first, the more family-friendly ones. This is that movie for this one, and we get a little more mature as we go along, but this is a great one for the whole family. So if you have kids that like superhero movies, show them this one. They might like this one. Of course, again, it's a mid-budget, low-budget movie, so it doesn't have the same special effects as something from the MCU, but it is a charming movie. So check that one out. Next is a foreign language movie. I would still say family friendly, so there's nothing really too crazy going on. The difference here, of course, again, it's a foreign language movie. The star of this movie, she's one of the hottest things going right now because of her movie Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'm talking about Michelle Yeoh. This is a movie she did years ago. This one is called Silverhawk, and so she plays the titular character, Silverhawk. Pretty much a Bruce Wayne type of character. She's during the daytime. She is a socialite of sorts, and then during the nighttime she's fighting crime with a lot of gadgets, and of course, since it's Michelle Yeoh, martial arts, so she plays Silverhawk, and it's a really good movie, really fun movie. It's honestly, it's not going to make anybody's like all-time greatest superhero movies or anything like that, but it is a fun one. It is something different if you haven't seen it, and if you're like me, you want to see as much Michelle Yeoh as possible. I think she's been great in everything I've seen her in. I've seen her in maybe a dozen movies, but she's been great every single time. So check out Silverhawk if you're okay with reading, because of course there's subtitles. I think you can turn the English dub on and you'll be fine, so you can check it out that way too. Next movie is again, we're moving up the maturity scale, and it's a little odd because this is actually an animated movie, but it does work with some more mature themes, as a lot of this company's animated movies do. Of course, I'm talking about DC, but again, not the DCEU. This is their animated line. This movie, it's the artwork, just the visuals overall. The story works, but it's visually, it is one of the most unique movies in DC's canon, and that is Batman Ninja. It is, if you can't tell from the cover, this is a steelbook. It's a beautiful steelbook as far as I'm concerned. It's really, what if we took Batman and made an anime movie? And actually, not the first time that's been done. There's a movie called Gotham Knights, but there's a short section where they do just that. But this is a full-length movie, and the colors are gorgeous. The story works pretty good. Batman just one day, well, he's chasing bad guy, and let me show you the back of the steelbook, guys. He's chasing this guy up here, and let me see, I pointed at the right place. I did. So he's chasing him. He's chasing this guy, and bada boom, bada bang. Long story short, Batman suddenly wakes up in feudal Japan and doesn't know how he got there. Has to deal with some crime because obviously there's some things going on that are not quite right there. And then he has to figure out how to get back to present day Gotham. So if you have not seen Batman Ninja and you're okay with watching animated superhero movies, then this is one for you to see. Again, it's visually stunning, one of the best visual presentations as far as DC animated movies are concerned. This, guys, is the inside of the steelbook. And this one was Blu-ray and DVD. I'm not sure if it had a 4K edition. So if it does, they will probably look even better. But let's move on to the next movie. This was the one movie that doesn't quite fit the genre that we're working with today. It is a comic book movie, but it's not about a superhero. And it's actually based on a true story because it's about a guy that wrote a comic book. And his name is Harvey Pekar. Let me make sure I'm saying it right. Harvey Pekar. Of course I screwed it up. And he's played by Paul Giamatti. The movie is called American Splendor. Now, Harvey Pekar, if you saw him on the street, he's basically a schlubby kind of guy. He got into comic books and wanted to break into the comic book industry. So he decided to create his own comic book. And he found that the comic book became successful and growing as he wrote more about his own life. So it's a comic book. He took his own life and just made a comic book out of it, a comic book series. And that's what this is about. If you look at the cover here, you can see it looks like comic panels up here. So throughout the movie, sometimes we'll just switch into a comic book mode. You'll actually be looking at a comic in motion. This movie does a lot of crazy things like that. It's a very meta movie. The actual Harvey Pekar appears in the movie alongside Paul Giamatti, who's playing him. And it's not, he doesn't just have a cameo like sometimes a star will have a cameo in a movie about them. He's actually in the movie playing himself, watching himself, played by Paul Giamatti, and in some cases talking to Paul Giamatti, who's playing him. The same thing goes for his wife and the person playing her. So it's a different kind of movie. You got to check it out to fully understand and fully grasp what I'm talking about. Again, Giamatti is fantastic in this movie. So if you're looking for something a little bit different, this is definitely the way to go. If you're not a comic book fan, that's okay, because it's not a comic book in the traditional sense. Again, there's no superheroes in this movie. If there are, they're like briefly flashing by the screen. The last movie I'm gonna recommend for you guys is another animated movie. And this is the most mature, at least the most mature themed movie of the bunch. It actually started off not as a movie, as it actually is a TV series. Let's put it that way. Not that it started off as something else. It is something else. It was a TV series, came on HBO back in the day. I bought it on DVD. I watched it back in the day as a TV series. It was really, really good. Hadn't seen it in some years. Then came across it one day in a pawn shop, picked it up, watched it again. The way it's presented here is presented as one movie. All the episodes are put together. 2.5 hours. Really, really good. I know when I say Spawn, first thing pops into your head is the 1997 live action movie starring Michael Jai White. This came out the same year, I believe, but was animated and is much truer to the comics. This is probably what people were hoping for when we got the Michael Jai White movie. So definitely, if you want to see what Spawn was meant to be, then check this one out. 2 more parts to this. What we have with the other 2 parts are basically seasons 2 and 3 of the show. This is the best. The first season is the best of the group. The problem with the others 2 seasons, especially the third part, is that they didn't know that there was supposed to be a 4th season. They didn't know that there wasn't going to be a 4th season. So what we have feels incomplete because it is. This one, when they made the first season, they weren't sure there was going to be a 2nd season. So this feels more complete, and it is definitely worth your while if you're a Spawn fan, or even if you just heard the name Spawn, you don't really know what the hype is about, or you've only seen the Michael Jai White movie and you don't know why people want this character to come back so bad. This is a really, really good education on that. So check out Spawn. Guys, that is all I have for this week's episode of Watch These Movies. Let me know if you've seen any of them, if you plan on watching any of them, what you think about them. And I will definitely love to have a conversation with you guys in the comment section about it. So of course, like, comment, subscribe again. That's all I have for you this time. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.